How's it? Welcome back. So here's a pretty straightforward hypnagogic meditation technique that you can use that's really pretty easy to utilize once you start to get the hang of it. And for me personally, I like to use it in the earlier stages of hypnagogia, where like on the deep end of hypnagogia, you can see like real full-on images, almost like you're watching a movie or TV screen, or like a full-on dream scene essentially. It will have like narrative and stuff packed with it. The thing that really differentiates a liminal dream or a hypnagogic dream from a real REM style dream is that in the REM style dreams, it's like you're in it in the first person, right? You have all the physical senses associated with it. But in this hypnagogic stuff, it's more like you're just watching it, almost like you're watching it on the screen. However, some physical sensations can be introduced into it, and that's what this technique is primarily centered around. So for me, I'll use it in the earlier stages of hypnagogia, essentially as a way to kind of gauge how deep I am in the stage one of sleep. And so you can use this like even before you see any visuals whatsoever, especially if you're someone who has a hard time noticing, the early visuals of hypnagogia, where like the early visuals of it could be like, you're behind your closed eyes, you see mostly just pitch blackness, right? But you might see like a soft diffuse spot of light or a center point or a starry night sky. And so if you can get to that point, then you might as well try to use this technique. But if you have a hard time even seeing that and noticing that, you can try implementing this technique before that. So for me, when I'm lying down to go to sleep or doing hypnagogic meditation, I always like to lie on my back. And so what I'll do is I'll try to search for this feeling of like tilting or leaning backwards, right? And if you can find it, that's a technique, okay? But the way I was using this most recently is about a week ago. Me and the family, we went out to like this Halloween pumpkin patch thing they have over here, and they have carnival rides. And one of my older son's favorite rides is this thing called the zipper, where it's like this, long skinny oval with these cages attached to the outsides of it, and it basically like spins like a chainsaw blade or something. And then as it spins, and especially as you go over like the ends, it can really cause the cage you're in to really flip forward and flip backwards, and it's really pretty fun. And so because we were talking about that as I was lying down to take my nap and do my hypnagogic meditation, I was just imagining like I was inside of that zipper and kind of just rolling backwards, rolling forwards, and just kept searching for that feeling. And it wasn't there initially, but then as I started to get deeper into sleep and started to hit stage one of sleep, I was able to find that feeling of rolling backwards and rolling forwards. And that is it. Right? So give the technique out a try. It really is one of my most preferred techniques to use when I'm doing hypnagogia, hypnagogic meditation. Not normally the whole zipper thing, but I'll do this whole lean back thing. And then another cool thing that can happen with this as well is if you are lucky enough to go from stage one of sleep hypnagogia directly into REM, is you can essentially have a wild or awake initiated lucid dream. And one of these times when you're rolling backwards or rolling forwards, or I guess a lot of times what people like to do with this is they'll try to roll sideways, but you'll try to roll sideways and then boom, you'll roll out of your body, and then you can have this OBE-like experience where like boom, you're in your bedroom. Sometimes you can see your body on the bed, and that's a very cool experience to have. Anyway, we'll leave it with that. Give it a try. Let me know how it works for you, and until the next video, keep your hypnagogic meditation practice legit. One more thing I'll throw in there really quick is I was mentioning that I like to use this in particular in the earlier stages of hypnagogia, right? You can use it in a later stage when you're seeing the real full-on images like you're watching a screen or something like that. But what can happen sometimes is the physical sensation that you feel, right? It can kind of be a little bit shocking and thus cause you to wake up out of it, which can really suck because if you're lucky enough to have a wild or this OBE type experience, right? You get there and you're there for like a moment because the sensation of you rolling out of your body is pretty shocking and can cause you to wake. I mean, on top of sometimes say that doesn't cause you to wake, but then just the whole kind of shock of like, hey, it actually worked. I see my body in bed. Awesome. Get too excited. You wake up and the whole shit is over. But yeah, so we'll leave it there.